Oh, it's been a while since I did one of these little live streams, so let's do one. I'm currently printing a piece that will help me mount my Rode microphone above, so when I am doing videos, y'all can hear me a little bit better. What up, Alec? It's been a while, man. So yeah, this is the first layer. After we get this first layer down, and I see that it's gonna not be a terrible first layer, then I'll show y'all the CAD model and a little bit of the application. And I just realized that my last print in this exact same spot started to peel up on the back side, so I should have leveled my bed before I started. Ah, it'll be fine, right? Yeah, it'll be fine. Oh yeah, so this is, I guess, the first time y'all have seen this crazy print head thing that I designed. Yes, those are Noctua fans. This one is cooling just the hot end, and this one cools the print. So I'm probably gonna distract from the actual purpose of this video, but like that's the inside of the manifold, and it bolts right into the CR-10, and it works really well. So I'll probably have to do a video on that at some point. I thought I already did, but I just now remembered I did not. So yeah, but the Noctua fans are incredibly silent, and they move a very good amount of air. So I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Good eyes, Alec. All right, so we just got past the first layer, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty boring. So let's talk a little bit about the model. So I'm gonna pick you up, I'm gonna spin you, hold your breath, don't throw up. Oh gosh, here we go. I'm gonna set you up right here so you can see a little bit. Oh, I'm in the middle of uploading the files. But before I do that, this is what it's gonna look like. So essentially, right here on this back side, these are little groove mounts to fit and slide into a 80-20 extrusion piece of aluminum. And then on this side right here, I've got little hot shoe mounts at different, this one's 45 degrees, this one's 90 to the 80-20. That will allow me to mount my microphone. But yeah, I'll show you kind of what the setup on the bench looks like. Whoop. So I've got microphone with the hot shoe adapter deal to mount it to. And then this was the first version. So this is what it's gonna look like when it's all said and done. Oof, this is difficult to do. Yeah, so that goes in there. I just did it backwards. It should be flipped. Anyways. And then this. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing. It mounts in it, just trust me. Yeah, kind of like that. So that way the mic is there out of the way of the camera. This is a whole new setup that I'm working with, and I think it's going to do some really cool stuff. I've made some videos that I haven't posted yet with this, and this camera is gimbal stabilized and it has a zoom, and so it's just a really nice camera, so you can see what I'm doing without me having to fight getting around the camera and all that stuff. So I'm excited to get all this rolling and working, but for right now, Inspire 2, I'm gonna be printing the second rev of this little microphone holder. So yeah, let me see if I can get this camera back to where y'all can see the print, and then if y'all have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. Okay, that's almost fell off. And we're back. There we go. That looks better. All right. Alex says that he just bought a stationary 80mm Noctua PWM controlled fan. Nice. Okay. Hey Alec, is your fan that you purchased, is that for your printer or is that for a PC that you're building? Oh man, okay, so remember how earlier I was saying that the back of the last print that I printed kicked up? I can see it's doing the same thing. That back leg on the far corner of the print, it's already coming off the build plate. So that's my bad. I should have leveled the bed and put some more stick glue on there, but I didn't. So this print's gonna be probably a little bit gross on the backside. Hopefully it doesn't pop all the way off. Whoops, I just got in a hurry. Ah, yeah, Alex said that he got some Noctuas for his printer. The ones that he had on the stock one were garbage. And yeah, that's kind of the case on most most printers that are, I guess, not insanely expensive, have pretty garbage fans. Alec also asked, am I printing in ABS? No, this is PLA. So it's not gonna warp like so bad that it's like unusable, but it'll definitely make that side of the print gross, and I'm not proud of it. Oops. Oh well. But yeah, so while this is printing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, y'all saw this on my screen a little second ago. I'm going to be uploading these files. I think I'm going to try it and upload them right now. And I think that's what I'm going to try to do in the future, is instead of people asking like, hey, where are the files? And me like not getting to them for like a couple weeks or something really bad, I'm going to try and upload the files while the print is printing. So I'm going to go over to my computer and upload these files. So I say these files, and it's only one part that's printing. So let me explain. This part right here holds the mic, and then I've got another. Oh man, guys, I know you hate it when I spin fast. I'm sorry, but it's just kind of one of the things. This also is a slider, and it has a 1/4 20. This is what we're gonna do. So I do not damage that camera because it's kind of expensive. I'm going to do this little number. I'm gonna detach it. I just want to show you what it looks like. So the camera's now detached, so I can slide this. Okay. All right, so this is the other part of it, and it has a 1/4 20, whoops, there we go, 1/4 20 bolt that fits into it, and then threads into, you know, a camera. So, but this, in this case, it's a mount for my gimbal, but it's your regular 1/4 20 that, you know, most camera tripods or whatever thread into. So I'm kind of making this so that anyone can use it for whatever application. There were a couple versions of these types of mounts on Thingiverse and My Mini Factory and all over the internet, but there wasn't one that would specifically fit this hardware. So, I mean, this might not be, you know, the right one for you, but if it looks like you're trying to do a similar application where you want the hardware sunk in below the rail, this might work well for you. But for me, it was kind of what I had to do. Here, I'll see if I can get you where you can see. There we go. All right, so I'll slide this back in, and you'll be able to see how it works. So that just, you know, mounts there. And then I take my camera, lock it back in, and it's good to go. And then whenever this gets done printing, I'll mount my mic, you know, right next to it. And it's cool because if I'm doing something on my bench, like here, I can have the camera, but then if I need to like move it that way, I can just grab it and kind of slide it over. So it gives me the mobility to use my entire bench and still keep everything in frame. So that is what my goal for this little print. All right, so let's get you set back up again. But yeah, I think this print is like 20 or 30 minutes. It's not super long. So, but yeah, all right. So I'm gonna go upload those files, and then I'll put the links to these files, both the mic and the camera mount, on, I guess, the doobly-doo down below, so you can click on it and check it out in 3D if you want to. Hey Alec, this printer is the CR-10. It's a Creality CR-10. It's not an i3. Alec just asked a question about soldering to DJI motors. Okay, so let me do this. Well, how am I gonna do this? Okay, we're just gonna pick everybody up again. Sorry guys, Alec is driving the show. So wires like this, you know, you're probably used to and you can solder to easily. But then there's these types of wires, and these are called magnet wire. They're usually used for motors, and they're wound around. Let's see. Oh, okay, perfect. So, do you see a little bit of a resemblance in the coils of that wire, and maybe the color of these wires right here? Well, it's because they're both enamel coated. So, all that means is that whenever these wires are wound together, there is no contact. Whenever there's mechanical touching, they don't transfer electricity between themselves because they're coated with enamel, and enamel is an insulator. So in order to solder to these wires, you have to get your soldering iron really, really hot, and it will melt and burn the enamel off, and then you can tin and solder to these. But there's special wires that are designed to, they do conduct electricity through like the center of it, but it's almost like it has an insulative paint around it. So like, you know, if you touch this wire to that wire, they won't conduct because there's silicone in between. Well, this just has enamel paint on it that doesn't allow it to conduct. So hopefully that makes sense. Without knowing exactly what you're trying to do to those DJI motors, it's hard to give you advice. But if you're trying to solder these wires or tin them or whatever, turn your soldering iron up pretty hot, and then burn off the enamel, and you can maybe put some flux on it to clean it, and then you should be able to tin it and solder them like normal. All right. Alex says he thinks they're electroplated. He can normally burn off the enamel coating, but these aren't burned off. You might try getting a lighter, like an actual like flame, or just cranking up your temperature on your soldering iron. I'm thinking, are you trying to solder like new motors on? Or maybe explain to me a little bit more about what you're actually trying to do with those motors. Like, you're not unwinding them and trying to rewind them or something, right? You're just trying to replace them? Because usually the motor, here, let me do something different. If I got a motor. Okay, this is a good example. All right, so where is the camera? There we go. So that is a brushless motor that the bell has been popped off of. And you can see that there's the enamel plated wire has been wound around each of these little cords, these iron cords. And if we flip this over, well, you can't really, it's hard to explain. It's not hard to explain, it's hard to see. So at some point down here, you've got these black wires, and these are connected to the different coils. So basically, if you energize two sides of these three pairs, you know, you get your magnetic field around different coils around this. But all that to say is that you go from these coils, and those coils basically have a solder connection going from that weird enamel wire to your normal like silicone wire. So I'm guessing Alec is trying to kind of do the same thing where but the DJI motors might have the wires go around the coil and then out, instead of having a nice, you know, like hobby grade, how like motors are designed for people to be able to assemble. DJI might have wires that come out that are the same coated ones. I don't know. That might be just far-fetched, but Alex says a friend of mine is paying him back to solder the motor leads back together because he thought he knew what he was doing, and then put them back together. He just cut the leads in half. Oh dear. Well, that's not good. So Alec, are you saying that you're trying to solder like these types of wires back together, or is it, because maybe, is it, okay, Alec, answer this. Is the wire, does it look like this, like a copper plated, like it's got that enamel on it, or is it like a silicone flexible wire that's not a single strand? Because these These are single strand wires, it's like a thicker gauge, and these are multi-strand. I guess let's first answer that question. Okay, Alex says that he just cut the normal leads. Okay, so I have run into this before, Alec, where some of the solder that is used, well, so I'm gonna take a step back. I'll use my prop again, it helps me think. So Alec is saying that the normal leads like this, I think, come off, and then the guy cut them here. And so Alec is trying to solder these back together. Like, you know, if I cut these and I was trying to, like, these were connected to the ESC, and I was trying to, like, connect these back together. Is that, I guess, do I understand that correct, Alec? Is that what you're saying? Okay, Alex says yes. So I would be very perplexed why you couldn't, do you have any rosin flux or anything that you can dip the wires in and try to tin them? Like, do the wires even tin? Also, are they like strand core? Like, are they easy to flex like this, or are they single core wires where it's just like one thicker gauge wire running through the jacket? Okay, so Alex says that they're not taking in solder, and that it's weird. That is strange. I've never heard of one that has only 2 solid cores. That's very strange. I mean, that might be like how even my Inspire has. I haven't taken well, I have taken actually apart. The motors are like silicone stranded, like a normal, what I would expect to see in like a mini quad, just like a heavier gauge wire to the motors from the speed controllers. But the speed controllers are mounted underneath them, so it's not like a very long. Anyways, I don't know, man. That's really weird. So I've honestly never flown a Phantom. I've never touched a Phantom as far as taking it apart. I have completely, like, totally disassembled this all the way down to like the main board. I guess I'll show you. This is gonna fall off the backside. So I installed basically a voltage step down converter, and then a 5-volt output so I could plug in my thermal camera on the bottom. So I did some like pretty crazy, like take this entire thing apart and modify it, put it back together, and like I gotta be honest with you, man, this is an amazingly well designed and put together drone. There's a couple little things that I would say like, oh, you know, they could have done better, but like for the most part, I cannot believe how much stuff they jammed into this drone. So as much as I like to, you know, bash on a company that doesn't do a good job, with my experience with DJI, I've been pretty impressed with their products and with the build quality of the Inspire 2. I can't speak for anything else though. Yeah, that's, so I guess, I mean, to answer your question, I don't know, man, that's really strange. I wouldn't think that it would be difficult to solder those wires together. There's 3 wires coming from the motor, and each of the 3 individual wires consist of a twisted pair of single core wire. Am I understanding that right? That sounds very strange. Alrighty, so I just posted the files to my my manufactory page, so you can go there to spin them around, check them out, and download them if you want. They're also in the doobly-doo. Got a link down there, along with obviously the chat. So yeah, hopefully these are useful to someone else, because I couldn't find anything quite like them. So hopefully someone else will find them useful. Good catch, Alec. Thanks, man. Whoop. Come on. Come on. I gotta time it just right. Yeah. That might be too much. If I put it on too far, sometimes... Oh, no. There we go. Perfect. Thanks, Alec. So Alec is still talking about these DJI motor wires. He said that someone mentioned that it would be good to sand down the motor wires so that he can solder to them. That seems crazy. You might, I don't know, man. Like a file or like a wire brush, like it. I just don't understand how heat couldn't burn that off. That must be some like crazy heavy duty enamel or something. But yeah, hopefully you get that knocked out and you can solder them together. Ooh, one thing that you do really need to be careful of when you're soldering wires in a drone, and even actually 3D printing for that matter, if it's in a location, in an application that has a high vibration over a long period of time, the solder itself can become brittle and can actually fatigue and break. So when you solder it, be very careful to, I would say, put a ton of like heat shrink around it to try and reduce the amount of stress that the wire, you know, can vibrate and flux and put into the joint. And then if you can, like hot glue that down inside the drone or something so that it doesn't just like bounce and vibrate around. Because, you know, if a motor wire pops loose, one of the three, then that motor stops spinning and the entire thing just tumbles. So it's a bad day. So be cautious to make sure that when you solder them that you also restrain it in a way that, you know, it doesn't vibrate itself to oblivion after, you know, a couple hundred hours of flying. Perfect. Yeah, okay. I agree. That stuff is the cat's meow for that application. I love conformal coating. Woo! looks like we have a finished part. Come on. Oh gosh, that's pretty. How does it stick so well? Except for this one corner. Oof. I should probably let it cool down. There we go. But I'm not going to. Alright, so let's take this. Put that there. Oh man. Okay. Sorry about all the camera moving. Okay, so this was Rev 1. This is just a piece of sheet metal that I cut very barbarously and just, you know, kind of made it work for the time being. Ooh, got a magnet there. And then this was, I guess, Rev 2, or the first version of the 3D printed wheel deal. And I didn't quite get the spacing in the gaps for the shoe. I mean, it fits if you press it really hard, but it doesn't slide in easily. So now, hopefully, this one fits. Oh yeah. Oh man, that's way better. Cool. So I got the tolerances right on that one. And this is the support. And so the way Simplify 3D does support, it's really nice. I can just kind of pop that out and it's clear. Simplify 3D is my favorite. I use it a lot. I'm actually a big fan of the support style that it does. A lot of people, you know, gripe about it, but that's one of the, I think, the big things that Simplify 3D does really well is support generation. Okay, so now I'm going to try, let's see, like this. I want the mic pointed at an angle down. So let's, oh. Man, I'm really sorry about the camera. I can't do all this at once. Oh yeah. Boop. Nice. I think that'll work just fine. Cool. All right. So, yeah. Let's see here. I guess that does it for this video. I've got a lot of projects kind of in the works. You can kind of tell by looking at that side of the bench. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to crank out some more videos here pretty soon. I started with a different job recently, and that's kind of why all the videos just like stopped coming out. But I'm still really wanting to do this, and I'm still doing a ton of stuff with drones and 3D printing. I just haven't really been able to crank out the videos like I was before. So, but things are getting back to normal, and yeah, hope you all enjoyed this video, learned something, and I will see you next time.